Welcome back to the Cine-Ops podcast, a podcast where every episode I narrate a different movie, and you walk away feeling like you just watched it. You know, you had a good time. You got to. It feels like you were standing here with me, and I was like, oh yeah, and then remember, and then this. Oh, he did that. You know what I mean? So it's all a good time here. Welcome to the movie podcast. If you're new here, today is the second episode of the Ip Man movies. My buddy Morty, we served in the Marines together. This is his second episode. Ip Man 2. Real quick, Ip Man, he was a kung fu master. There was a Japanese war in China. Everything was horrible, but he was really great at kung fu. He had to fight the general. He fought the general. And he did it pretty well. All right. I hope everybody's doing all right. I'm doing okay. Yeah, I'm all right. Sometimes I remember. Look, when I say remember September 11th, yeah, September 11th, 2001, that was crazy. But September 11th, it just happened to be September 11th. Last year, I had gotten some pretty bad news. Don't want to get into it, but they know who they are. Oh, it's funny the way life is. All right, hold on. Let me. all right. Let me do this, man. All right. Ip Man 2. This one's for my buddy Morty. And his name isn't Morty. It's Nolan Murphy. But Morty knows who he is. So the way Ip Man 2 starts, it's right. Maybe it's a few months, maybe a year-ish after the first one, right? So at the end of the first one, Ip Man fought the general of the Japanese army, and he won, right? He beat his karate, but one of the soldiers, right, his colonel, he was kind of pissed about it, and he kind of shot him, but one of the dudes fought him at the same time, and it kind of hit him, it wing chunned him, right? The bullet just winged him. So the bullet hit him in the shoulder, right, through and through, hit him through the meat. When he fell, they saved him. They got him out of that town. A little bit of time went by. The war is over. Hong Kong. Now he's in Hong Kong. And this is very interesting about Hong Kong. Hong Kong was actually, what was it? It was a British, not a property, but a British territory. So even though Hong Kong is in China, it was a British territory until 1997. So that's why you see the British officer, like in the movie, we're going to see a British officer. One of the main antagonists is a British officer and a British boxer. And I'm like, what are they doing there? And then it turns out, turns out it really happened. So he's in Hong Kong, right? He's healed up from the gunshot wound. He doesn't, because, we saw him, he had a nice house, a good kung fu career. I don't know, he was retired or something. Chilling. Now he has a very small apartment. He doesn't have a trade. You know what I mean? He can't go and be a woodsman, a cab driver, or whatever it is. They don't even have cabs. They don't even have cars in this movie. So he doesn't have a trade. The only thing he can do is kung fu. So he finds a nice little spot, it's like a classroom, but it's really like an open, like a studio, open concept roof studio. And the dude's like, oh yeah, man, like I know you from back in the day. I'm going to rent you out the studio because I'm a landlord. Right, so he rents him out the studio, right? And he puts up his posters, and it's like a Wing Chun martial arts school over here. And, nobody shows up. A day goes by, nobody shows up. He goes home, and he's like, hey, you feel a little bad. You're like, you want everybody's business to do well. But he doesn't have students. And nobody came by. Nobody, no money. So his wife's like, we need money. The landlord's on our ass for the apartment. We could barely afford it. Our kid could barely afford school supplies. Everything's horrible. Everything's horrible always. Good night. Everything's horrible always. Good night. So he goes every day to his school. And he kind of just waits around. I think maybe he puts up more posters, kind of hoping that somebody shows up. And a few days go by, nothing. And then one day, this young kid comes up, right? And this young kid, he's like pretty cool. You know what I mean? He's like, so he's like, oh, so you're the teacher? You're the martial art teacher? And Ip Man, he's super chill. We already saw what he went through, but he's like pretty chill. He's like, yeah. He's like, okay. So the kid's like, how about this? I'll challenge you to a fight, and if you beat me, I'll pay my 1 month, my student fee. You know what I mean? If you beat me, I'll pay the student fee. And Ip Man's like, a kid challenging me? That's nothing. Yeah. I just got shot by a general. Yeah, I'm going to do it, right? But he's super chill, super humble. And he's like, okay. And the dude starts, right? And he has kind of like a boxing style. So he puts his hands up. And Ip Man, he does the Wing Chun. Hey, right? It was super peaceful, kind of. He's like a peaceful kung fu. And that's why nobody respects it. But then it turns out he's the best, and that's the best kung fu. They start fighting. And the kid's like an aggressive puncher. And he's trying to punch him. And the dude's kind of like, Ip Man's in close, deflecting the strong young man's blows. Boom, boom, boom. And he's getting him, right? And he hasn't really attacked, right? Maybe he kind of plays with him a little bit. He kind of like just blocks, twists, turns. And the kid's getting angry. He's like, all right, time to step at it. He kind of cocks the barrels. He's like, all right, it's time for real. He's punching harder. And Ip Man, he's evading him. But he's like, all right, time to shut him down. I don't have too much time to waste. Boom, shuts him down, kicks him, punches him in the side of the face, kicks him in the side of the face. Done, easy. That was easy. It was breakfast. And the kid who just said, if you beat me, I'll pay the fees, he grabs his bag, he's angry, and he leaves. He's like, he's embarrassed, his pride is hurt. So then like a few days go by, and you're like, you feel bad. It's like, bro, that dude came challenge Ip Man, didn't pay his fees. Ip Man's struggling. We know he's struggling. Ip Man's our buddy. And then the kid comes back, right? A few days later, he comes back. And he comes in with a few more kids, right? Like 4 more kids. And he's like, Sifu. Right? So they're like, oh, we're here to learn. And then the dude, since he's like, oh, well, since I was the first one, I'm his first pupil. I'm the second in charge, right? Right. So the dude, the kid, I think his name is, what is his name? Wong? I'm not making that up. His name is Wong. So Wong, he's the one who challenged him. He's the first student. He brought 4 more. So now everybody's learning. Everybody doing Wing Chun. Everybody doing good. And Ip Man, he's such a nice guy. He's training him. And, he's like, all right, guys, it's time to, like a week goes by. He's like, all right, it's time to pay the student fees because his rent is due not only on the studio for the Wing Chun classes, but at his apartment too. He's like, all right, guys, time to pay the rent. And then someone's like, oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, Sifu. And they give him the money. And, All right, I need to focus. It's just something. There's something I can't get off my mind. All right, it keeps bothering me. It keeps popping up. Happened September 11th last year. The students didn't have enough money. Not all of them. Some of them paid. So like, Seafood, this is all I got. It's all I got but here. And then, man, he's like, all right, next time. Yeah, he's like, it's okay. He's super nice guy, super chill. And he goes home, gives it to his wife, right? She's like, yo, this isn't enough for the rent. What happened to the student? They were supposed to pay. He's like, oh, well, they didn't have it. We'll do it. You know what I mean? What am I going to do? He's such a nice guy. So in the way the Hong Kong area that he's in, they're like gangs, or almost like gangs, but each gang is a different martial arts school, right? So everybody has a different uniform from each school, and then if they see you guys walking, you kind of talk that ish to each other, and you fight. You do martial arts to each other. That's fine. That's all right. You're a young man. That's what they do, and so of course Master Ip's student Wong, the main one, he's like talking to this other guy, and they say, "Oh yeah, you think you're stronger than me? What's up?" And they get in a fight in the alley, right? And Wong's beating him, right? He can fight. He's aggressive. He can do it. But these guys, of course, he's outnumbered, and they beat him with numbers. And he was putting up a good fight. The dude had like a Eagle-style kung fu and versus the Wing Chun kung fu, and they're fighting in the alley. But he gets outnumbered. They jump him, and they hold him hostage at the fish market. So the other students, they're like, Sifu, Wong, he got in a fight, and they're holding him hostage. He's over there. He's at the fish market. And he's like, all right, I'm gonna go get him. Right. So he goes because the kids, not only the kids from that dojo, not only are they're also they're like low level criminals. They're gangsters. They extort other people around the markets, right? They're in the fish market. They extort other marketeers or whoever, regular people, and they beat up everybody. They do whatever they want. Bad guys, bad hombres. So Ip Man shows up to the fish market, and he's like, "Hey, right?" He's being super nice to the young guys. He doesn't have to be. He's an older guy. He's talking to these young guys, these punks, couple of kung fu punks, and they're like, "Oh, so you're Ip Man? You're the dude that thinks he can like do this or whatever? Yeah, well, we got your student over here." And they shows him, and they were like holding him like in a little fish tank with like a barely enough room to breathe. So they were holding him in there. He's like, "Yeah, just let him go. Yeah. I mean, just let him go. It's gonna be all right." And they're like, "Oh yeah, you think you're gonna?" Right? Everybody wants to fight. Everybody always wants to fight the nicest guy, and it's always the nicest kung fu guy that can whoop the most ass. So Ip Man's like, right? He grabs his boy. He's like, "All right, get out of here." And everybody wants to attack Ip Man. So everybody starts coming at Ip Man. But obviously they didn't see the first movie. oh, 10 of you are coming to me? That's what I'm known for. So he starts doing Wing Chun to everybody. And everybody has like axes and sharp knives. And he picks up whatever he has, right? Weapons of opportunity. Picks up the crate. Ooh, he's fighting with the crate, puts it down, sits on it, backflips, everything like that. But at the same time, he has to protect his student who's tied up because he was in the fish tank over here. So he's like grabbing him, rolling him, flipping him. He's doing flips. He's kicking people in the wrist. When they're chopping them with the knives. Fighting everybody, right? And he's fighting them as he's running away. Very Jackie Chan-ish of him. But he's fighting him as he's running away. But as he's trying to escape the fish market, it looks like another martial arts gang is coming at him, right? And the leader of the martial arts gang is running towards him. And it's the gang leader from the first movie, the one that was trying to extort the cotton factory. And Whip Man? That's better. Whip Man had a Ip Man. Whip Man had to whip him into shape. So Ip Man had to whip him into shape. And it was that guy. I forget what his name is. Like Jung or something. Oh, Jin, right? So the leader of the old gang, his name was Jin. Now here he is. He works at the fish market. He has his own crew, a different crew. And he comes in to like squash everything because like I guess he's a peaceful guy now. He's a nice guy. So he's like they lock eyes and they're like, "Ip Man," and he jumps, he like stops everything. He shows them that he can do kung fu. He's like, "Everybody stop, everybody leave Ip Man alone." Whatever. He stands up for Ip Man. So that's pretty cool. The fish market gang, they kind of backed off. Jin kind of stepped in. Ip Man's just trying to get out of here. You know what I mean? But here comes another crew, another character, and it's Master Hung. Master Hung, he's like this old timer master of kung fu, and he's with like this British officer. Right? Remember what I said? So the British officer is like he's like the police / local authority, and then Master Wong is his like not handler, but he's like, okay, I'm the official. I'm gonna do whatever I have to do. And Master Wong, he's like, I'm gonna put you in charge of all the people, all the civilians to handle this. So Master Wong, he's in charge of all the kung fu stuff around here, right? He's that dude. And then above him is the martial arts guy. Above him is the British soldier, the British captain or whatever. So Master Hung shows up. No, Master Hung shows up. And he's like, "Oh, so you're the new guy that started teaching kung fu without our permission." And he's like, "Oh, what do you mean?" Ip Man's like, what do you mean? I didn't know I needed permission. He's like, "Yeah, anybody that wants to teach kung fu in my kung fu anyone that wants to teach kung fu in my kung fu town, they gotta get approved by me and the other masters, right? Because there's these other masters that they all have their kung fu schools, but I'm the master of those masters. Like, I'm in charge of everything. So if you're gonna teach kung fu, you better come over here. We're gonna test you, and if you pass our test, we'll let you do kung fu, teach kung fu." So Master Ibsen, he's such a nice guy. He's like, "Okay, all right, I respect your wishes." He's super chill. So that he meets at whatever, like the Chinese restaurant. So they meet at the Chinese restaurant that's like where they were supposed to meet. And the way it's set up is like all the masters are there, right? And each one has like a different personality, a different kung fu style. Everyone's kind of arrogant. They're old and arrogant, but they're teaching kung fu because I guess they had to get tested, And obviously, when they were tested at the beginning, it probably wasn't as hard as they're making it now for the newer guys. So the test is there's like a dining room or like an open area in the restaurant, and there's like a table in the center, a round table in the center, and all around the table they're upside down stools with the legs up, right? So when he shows up, he's like, "Oh, I'm Master Ip, whatever, whatever," and they're like, "All right, this is the challenge. You have to fight. You have to fight a master as long as his incense burns. That's how long you gotta last on the table. And if you make it, you're allowed to teach kung fu here." So Ip Man's like, "All right, yeah. See, whatever the challenge is, I'll do it." Right? So he does. He jumps onto the table, and they're like, "All right, who's first?" And one of the dudes who's like praying mantis style, he does it, right? And he's doing his style kung fu. He goes up there, and everybody thinks like, "Oh, this guy's so nice" or whatever. This won't take long. But Ip Man is nice. But he's also the best. So he starts doing kung fu. He's very respectful, right? He lets the other guy go first. He's doing kung fu, right? And they're fighting, and the dude's like, "Okay, this guy's actually pretty good. I gotta step it up." Everybody always starts light with Master Ip, and then they realize that, okay, not breaking a sweat. He's not even looking at you, because Master Ip, he'll be fighting you, and he'll kind of be looking down, or kind of like it's all in his training, all in his moves, right? He's like, "Oh, this dude's not even looking at me." They step it up. They get harder. They go harder and harder. Boom, praying mantis style. He falls off the table, and they're like, "All right, my turn." Right? So now all the masters they're getting up, and they're going harder and harder on Ip, and Ip, he just nothing, brushing them off. Hey, this is what you got, right? And he's going through all the grand masters, and then it's the last one, and the last one's like, "All right, enough playing around. Let me shut him down. Let me do this." Right? So they jump onto the table. So now they're both on the table. Master Huang, Ip, and they're doing kung fu. And they're doing kung fu so hard that the table breaks. And the rule is you can't fall. The incense is almost done burning. You can't fall. The table breaks. They're balancing each other perfectly. I think they both run backwards, stomp the table, kick the table, lands perfectly in a different section. They both land doing kung fu, and the incense done burning. And Master Huang's like, "All right, you're allowed to teach kung fu here, right?" And Master Ip's like, "Hey, I'm still fresh. Anybody else want some more? I'm fresh." He's like, "All right, you're allowed to teach kung fu. Just remember to pay your dues every month or whatever." So now you're like, "Oh, what is this?" So it turns out, of course, the British officer, he's extorting everybody. That's why the gangsters are extorting everybody. Everybody gets extorted around here. Of course, Ip Man, he just left the last town, right? They were getting oppressed by the Japanese, and now here, they're being oppressed by the British. So he's like, "Oh, I got to pay my dues." Nah, bro. Like, obviously, he's against that. He doesn't support any kind of oppression from anybody. And so, he's still doing his best, teaching kung fu. I think the kids get in a fight. He has to relocate spots. But what's important is that the British officer, he's bringing like the best British boxer, right? A little dude named Twister. And he's like this 5'6" dude, jacked, ready to box. He's super arrogant, super brash. And they don't respect the Chinese at all, right? So the British officer, he's like, "Hey, set up, find a hall. We're gonna have a boxing match. We're gonna bring a lot of people, and you guys are in charge of making it happen." So now we really see how bad the British officer is, right? Because he's like bullying his Chinese henchmen. He's like being super disrespectful to him. Doesn't respect their race, their culture, their beliefs, their martial arts. They're just slaves to him essentially. And he's like, "Yeah, set up the boxing match, do whatever." And then the dude's like, "Hey, the guy," they call him Fatso, right? He's like this fat Chinese guy. He's like, "Hey, well, the guys haven't gotten paid. They're not gonna finish setting up or do anything like that." And he's like, "Well, you tell them you're gonna get paid with me," whatever he's doing, right? And he's like buddies with the boxer, right? So the boxer's like, "Yeah, we martial arts isn't real. Only boxing is real." "Oh, yeah, that's right." And so they're just like the worst, right? The Chinese guys, they keep on setting up. They make the thing happen. Everything's ready. And then before the actual boxing match starts, they're like, "Oh, they're going to do a demonstration of their kung fu all the schools are going to come in because all the martial arts schools were invited. They're like, hey, they're going to do their traditional kung fu before the show and whatever, right? And they're doing their kung fu, right? The Master Huang school, he's doing, all the students are like, hey, yeah, hi. And then the British dude's like, oh, what's this, a pantomime? This isn't real. Oh. Right, so he's like, what is this, right? So the boxer, he's getting like all arrogant. He's like, oh, this is so stupid. Y'all just dancing. Oh, y'all think this is fighting, right? So he gets in the ring, and he's like making fun of them in the ring to their faces. And they're like, hey, like they're obviously disrespected. So they kind of like, hey, back up, bro. So the dude's like, oh, you want? And he's like punching everybody. So he's just like clocking everybody as hard as he can, just punching everybody. They have to split it up. So they're splitting up the fight. And the Chinese dude's like, hey, we're not going to stand for the disrespect. You're the worst. We hate you. We don't like you. Whatever. Kung Fu is cool. We don't care what you say. And then, the boxer, he's like, oh, really? Well, how about this, right? So they set up. They're like, if you can beat me in a match right now, I'm going to let you do Kung Fu to me. And if I could beat you in a match, we'll see who's the best, right? So it's kind of happening all over again. The first movie is like, hey, well, I'm going to do Kung Fu because I don't like you and I hate you. And I'm going to fight no. Well, it's like the first movie happening all over again. He's like, oh, well, I don't like your Kung Fu. I'm going to beat you up till you die. Same thing. Right? So Master Huang, since he's like the leader of the Kung Fu, he's like, no, we're not going to stand for the disrespect. We're tired, bro. This dude hasn't paid us. This dude's disrespecting Kung Fu. This ends tonight. Right? So Ip Man's like, hey, bro, like, don't. Hey. Ip Man, since like he's cool with Master Huang now. He's like, hey, bro, please, let's just be rational. Let's not do this. Right? Because Ip Man's always got his wits about him. Right? He's always... Yeah, he's not all fist and kicks. He's like, come on, brother, we don't have to do this. Let's do it the right way, whatever like that. Master Huang was like, no, he disrespected Kung Fu, our school, your school, all of China. No, hell no. So then the fight starts, right? And Master Huang, he's like one of the better Kung Fu men. And he's doing Kung Fu and he's able to, boom, right? He's hitting them. And the boxer, he's throwing haymakers, right? He's very strong. Very jacked, and he's trying to catch him, right? But he can't really catch him because even though Master Huang's like, he's very agile, right? We saw him, kick and jump on and land on the table or whatever like that. But he's also older. So he's older. He got a belly on him. That's all right. But now he has to represent China. China versus the UK. And he's fighting, but every once in a while, the boxer catches him, right? Boom. Cracks man's egg. Boom, and then they hurt. You can see him like, oh, he stumbles. He got punched super hard in the face. And then Master Huang, he keeps going, right? He keeps going. He can't. Like, I can't stop. I have to beat this guy. And he's going. And then little by little, they play the little sad music. Like no. Because everybody sees like Master Huang, he's fighting hard. He has that fire in him, that fire in his soul. Boom. And he's trying to fight. He's doing everything he can. Boom, bleeding out the mouth. Boom, his eyes are swollen. And he's trying to fight. Boom, he's on the ropes. And, Miller, the boxer's like, yeah, I'm the best. Oi. Right? And then Ip Man's like, Master Huang, stop. We got to throw in the towel. Come on, this is it. It's over. Come on. And Master Huang's like, bro, bleeding. Don't hurt him. Right? And Ip Man's like, with tears in his eyes, like, no, we have to stop. And he's like, nah, bro, I got to finish this. And he goes, right? He goes one last time to fight the boxer. And the boxer cracks him so hard, hits him with such a powerful right hook, Boom, right? He does that thing where like he could punch and like the blood saliva slings. Like, oh. Boom, hits the floor. Like, no, Master Huang. That's the end of Master Huang. That was it. He died. So now all the martial arts are like, no, Master Huang. And then, of course, that just made all the British people, they're like, yeah, Kung Fu really does suck. Yeah. And then, like, everybody's, like, super hyped. But we just saw, this dude just got killed. Master Huang and all his students and all his friends, they're like, no, Master Huang, what is this? What's going on? So now, we see it from the British officer, right? He's in the office of his boss, right? So like a higher British officer. And he's like, what is this? You have a dead Kung Fu man. You have a dead local. You have a dead Kung Fu man that your guy beat to death in front of everybody. And it's bad press, right? So he's like yelling at him For he's like, what are you doing? Get your station under control. This and that. You're in trouble. Whatever. Fix this. You gotta fix this, right? So the British officer, he's a fucking dick, right? Because he starts beating the hell out of, I don't know. They captured one of the Chinese guys, one of the kung fu guys. They beat him up, and they're like, hey, you gotta. I don't know. He's the worst, right? If you want to see who, because you know how there's like characters in movies that you're like, oh, that guy's the worst. This guy's the worst. This guy's up there, right? And you look at him and you're like, oh, I hate this dude. If I ever had a chance, I'd break it. And he's like so thin, you could like snap him in half. But the solution to the problem is like, okay, now we're going to have a legit boxing match versus kung fu match. And hopefully nobody dies. So they do it. They set up the press and there is like, yeah, I want to apologize. He's like, I want to apologize for what happened, but he agreed, and that's what happened, and I'm sorry I killed him or whatever. And then he's like, but we're going to do a legit one, so if anybody volunteers, and he's like a douche, right? The boxer, he's like, yeah, oh, he's the worst, right? He's like, yeah, if anybody is brave enough, man enough to fight me, right? And nobody really says anything, right? And then you just see the crowd's parting. And Ip Man's like, time's up. No, he's super humble. He's like, I'll fight you. I'll fight you for Master Huang and all of China. I'll put China on my back again. You didn't see the first movie? I'll do it again. Now they're set up as Ip Man versus this crazy boxer that killed the last kung fu guy. And it's the night of. And of course, like his students are like, oh, Sifu, no, don't do it. His wife's like, come on, again. Again, you got to fight to the death? Come on. But he's like, yeah, I got to go fight to the death, babe. And he goes, right. He's at the fight. And it's set up. It's like more presentable. I think there's more press, whatever like that. And the Twister, right? Twister Miller, he's like, he can't lose. Like, I beat this guy once. I can do it again. Whatever. But he doesn't know. He didn't see the first movie. So they're in the fight. And Ip Man, he feels, right? Boom, as soon as they start fighting, he feels how strong this dude is, right? With his gloves or whatever, and the dude's throwing haymakers and blocking and everything like that. And Ip Man, he's all right. I just got to re-strategize. I got to re-strategize, do my kung fu. I'm going to be all right. I'm going to be all right. Oh, man. So he's doing the kung fu. Let me put it so I can get motivated here. So the fight starts. And everybody's there. All the other masters, that had to fight Ip when he was getting tested. The students, the British, the press, everybody. And the fight starts, right? And the fight starts, and in Kung Fu, he can grab his wrist. But in boxing, he could only punch. He could pivot, bob, weave, punch. So he's like, Ip Man's doing everything, right? He's blocking. And then you can see the difference in strength and size, right? They're obviously not the same weight class, but Ip Man has to fight him. And he's blocking, boom, boom, doing kung fu. He tries to grab him by the wrist, a little wrist lock, and the dude pulls him. He like rips him so hard, Ip Man goes flying with him. So so the boxer like pulls his hand and he's like throwing Ip Man around. He's like jumping around, and Ip Man's obviously too light to really do any damage to him. Boom. So the boxer punches him. Ip Man goes straight to the ground because he's light. He's probably like 5'4". Let's see. Let me look at him. Probably like 5'4", 134. That's I want to confirm that. Let me see. It says here he's 5'8", and when he recorded Ip Man 2, he was 135. All right. So 135, the boxer's probably like a cool 185. So 50 pounds, bro. He's throwing around 50 extra pounds of weight on him. That's going to hurt. So Ip Man gets up, right? He got rocked a little. He gets up. And he's like, all right, I gotta do this right. So he steps it up, right? He's like, all right. He's doing kung fu. He's hitting him back. He's kicking him, right? He's kicking him, and Miller, he's not ready for the kicks, right? He doesn't kick at all. So he's doing the kick. Miller starts fighting crazy. He's fighting crazy because he can't lose again. He needs to be the best, So Ip Man's getting him, and the referee, right? Ip Man's beating him up a little bit. Now that he stepped up his game, level 2. Maybe 50% power, and and they're doing it like a boxing match, so you get 2-minute breaks, or you get a 1-minute break every 3-minute rounds, right? So every time he goes to the break, the students are in there like, come on, Sifu, yeah, do this, you're doing all right, You're gonna be all right, right? So they come back out of the bell. The bell rings. They come back out, and they're fighting again. He's fighting harder, and he's kicking him. And because he's kicking him, he has like a little bit of advantage. So the next bell rings, and the ref, he's talking to the ref, and the ref comes out. He's like, "Hey, from this moment forward, no more kicking is allowed." And you're like, "Ah, what a bitch, bro. He killed the other dude, but he can't take a few kicks." So now Donnie Yen's like, "Oh, I gotta finish this." So the round starts. They're fighting again. And he gets him in the locks, right? He's kicking him in the back of the knees, grabbing the neck, flipping him over. Anything he could think of, he's doing it because there's obviously a weight disadvantage, whatever. And he's doing it to him. He's grabbing him. He flips him. So now the Miller, he's like on the ground. Ip Man's on top of him, bashing the back of his head. Boom, boom, boom. The boxer buckles. Boom. He goes flying. Ip Man goes flying, and that's the bell. And Miller, being a piece of shit, fucking uppercuts him after the bell. After the bell, he uppercuts him because he's a dirty fighter. And he goes back to his corner. And of course, they let it slide, right? And Miller, he goes back to his corner. And he's like beat up. He like slumps down into his chair. He's bleeding out of his mouth guard. And they're like, come on, champ. Come on, champ. Come on, you can do it. And Sifu's like, all right, bro. All right, this is it. This is his last round. And he accidentally lets a kick go, right? So the round starts, and they're fighting. He accidentally lets a kick go, and the referee's like, hey, one more kick, and you're disqualified, this and that. And they're fighting again. Miller cracks him. He's punching him up against the rope. Boom, rocks him again with the hook. Ip Man goes flying. Lands on the canvas. Lands on the canvas with his hands down, bro. That's disrespectful. If you land like this, you couldn't even land like this. That means you really got rocked. And he got rocked, and he could see everybody. He sees everybody. Right? Everybody's faces keeps popping up into his head. Huh. Kind of like the one I keep thinking about. But right, he sees Master Huang. He remembers a bunch of the guys from the first movie, his wife, his son, and he gets up and he's like, all right, it's go time. Turn it up. 97%. He gets up there, he starts letting them things go. Boom, Wing Chun to the throat. Boom, Wing Chun to the temple. Boom, elbow to the throat. And he's getting him, right? And he's like punching him, boom, elbow to the face. Right, elbow to the face. Miller backs up. He grabs the wrist. Oh, he grabs his wrist, pulls him back, does kung fu. He does that famous chop, right? Remember when he was fighting the 10 karate man? And he punches and he grabs him, right? And Miller's like, he's like dazed, right? He's dazed, he's rocked. And Ip Man grabs him, twists him around. Miller falls. He falls onto the floor and he grabs him, right? Just like the first movie, when the last guy from the last karate man from the 10, boom, his head is in between his knees. Boom, he's punching him. And each time he punches him, he remembers somebody else. This one is for all those people. This is for my buddy that you killed. This is for Kung Fu. Boom, this is for China. Cracks a man's egg. And Miller's done. Boom, looks like bread pudding on the floor. And Ip Man wins again. No, so Ip Man's all beat up, right? Bloody. Black eyes, bloody. And the press is like, Ip Man. And the student's like, oh, save her. Right? And they ask him, like, Ip, what do you got to say? Ip, say it to all of China. We're the press. We're from the news. What do you want to say? They got a mic to him. And he's bloody, black eyes. And this is what he says. I pulled it up here because I want to. He says, I did not come here tonight to prove that Chinese martial arts is better than Western boxing. Should I say it like that? All right, Right, super humble, Ip Man. He says, I did not come here tonight to prove that Chinese martial arts is better than Western boxing. All people have different statuses in life, but I don't believe that one person's integrity is worth more than another's. I hope that from this moment on, we can start to respect each other. And the crowd goes crazy. They're like, Ip, that's why you're the best, Ip Man. And he won. Again, he's not fighting for himself, and he won again. He did it. And then he delivered a nice, peaceful message. Like, hey, in a way, he's like, I didn't want to do it. Right? He's like, in a way, he's like, I didn't want to do it. Nobody's better than somebody else. Right? Yeah, I destroyed this dude. Hey, they wanted to put rules. They didn't let me kick. I destroyed him. But now that he's done, I want everybody to know to be nice to each other. That's pretty cool. And it ends, and this is very important. If you're listening up to this point, I haven't mentioned this before. This is very important about Master Ip. Master Ip recovers. He's having his evening cigarette at his studio, right? And one of the students come by. He's like, Sifu, my buddy wants to learn Kung Fu. And Sifu was like, oh, yeah, let him in. And this kid shows up, right? He's probably 10, 11. And he's like, hey, so I hear you're the best Kung Fu. I hear you do the best Kung Fu. I want you to teach me. And he's like, and you know, he's amused by it. He's like, and why do you want to learn Kung Fu? Oh, I want to beat up people I don't like. He's like, come back when you're older, all right? And he says, what's your name? And the kid says, I'm Bruce Lee. Because Ip was Bruce Lee's real master in real life. In this universe, Master Ip taught Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee went on to be one of the greatest. Therefore, Ip Man being the grandfather of one of the greatest. What a time. What a time to be alive. What a universe to be part of. Oh, Master Ip. Oh, Bruce. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Ip Man 2. Morty, that's your episode. Episode 2. Let me know how I did. Everybody let me know how I did. Comment. Email in the Cine-Ops@gmail.com. Comment on YouTube. Like. I'll be on TikTok sometimes, yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed the story. I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you're watching movies. Let me know. I'll see you next time.